describe your flying and charging and preparation?
There's a choice for the speed course. Anyone wanting speeds in kilometres an hour will probably find...
Well, it won't hold you up anymore.
You know what this sounds like? You know what this sounds like? Please make the guy do hopefully we get through.
Aero jet, it's by Galaxy models, again powered by 7 cells and an Astro 5, and the kit's available commercially. Okay, this is a Great Plains electric hub, again running on 7 cells, 1400 size. It's running on a standard buggy 540 motor running through an Astro 035 gearbox, and the fuselage is of a Mini Challenger running through an 035 Astra motor and 6 800 cells. 2 helicopters in the background. First we have the EP Concept, and the other one is a Baron Whisper. Both run on about 8 cells, 540 type motors.
Two servos and mixing down the transmitter. Follow me exactly what.
Yeah, I expect that's what they've doing to the full size channel. No, it's 6 cell 800.
This is a modified pushover. Fuselage is about 3/4 of an inch deeper than normal and about 1/4 inch wider, just to get everything in. The prop's homemade left-hand wooden beach. The next one to it is a 1/8 less than the drawing size of a Radio Princess. Got an Astro 05. This is the MFA's Islander. Bit of a swine, nothing really matches. Not recommended to anyone to buy. Hand carved props again.
This is a Lockheed C-130 Hercules. It's about 16th or 17th scale, and it has 4 Mabuchi 550S motors in it. Those props that are on there are not the flying props. I fly on 84s. They're made up to impress the judges. We have in the front rather complicated looking speed controller. It's complicated because it's actually in 2 halves, forward and reverse. These functions are controlled by these relays here. There's 4 of them. They're in parallel to share the load between the contacts. They don't actually switch the current load. They're switched by these little micro switches here, operated by this cam, by a servo underneath, and you just switch them forward and reverse after you've already closed the throttle. What else is in there? Oh, you've got retracts, of course. Back wheels of the main wheels just truck along. They don't do any work because they're too far back in relation to the centre of gravity, I believe. The front wheel steers, of course, in conjunction with the motor. We have a strobe on the fin which flashes when the batteries are in. The batteries live in this place here. There's 24 cells. They're all in parallels in sticks of 8, so that each motor sees 8 cells in effect, which is what the Mabuchi 550 was designed for. That's about. Hi, well, this is a Messerschmitt 110, sort of. I say it's the H model, the high altitude interception model, because it's got a stretched band. It's once again got Mabuchi 550 S motors in it, because I think they're the best motors there are. Canopy comes off. 16 cells, once again arranged in 2 strips of 8. So the motors, see them in parallel, they each see 8 cells. Simple micro switch control for the motors. The only feature I've got on it is bottom drop. I did have a sound generator, but you could hardly hear it from the ground, I'm afraid. And I think that about sums it up.
Attention! Everybody wishing to enter the open, call.
That was the Playboy Senior, 1939 design, built from the same, now done by Ben Buckle. Motors Astro, 25 gears, running on 14 1,200 size cells, Robbie speed controller. All up weight, flying weight 5.5 pounds, and hitting 5 feet.
do-it-yourself software look-alike. Runs on a Keller with 18 cells, and it's almost a double up of the next plane you'll see, which is the Magnetilla, which has been crashed and rebuilt, and that runs on a 14 cells with a Bueller engine, and four score block. That's a bit of this was an all-3-flight plane, slightly altered. It's got Bueller, runs on 14 cells, and it's been altered so that the rear frame actually moves as elevated instead of the front. And that's why it's fairly good for the 9-inch condition.
Motor, 7 SCR cells, Sanyo, standard radio here. That's about it really, 9x5 prop, folding prop.
Oh, what weight is it?
All up rates, about 3 pounds, 2 ounces.
Is it difficult to build?
No, difficult. Flies about 5-6 minutes.
This was designed. This is a P51 Mustang semi-scale, designed for Astro 05 callball on 7 cells. It's all wood construction with foam wings covered in balsa, and the finish is a covering film called Pro Film, which they call just chrome. It's very, very close to natural aluminium finish. The actual rivet detail has been done by a little wheel from a stopwatch, a cog. And this is all just airbrushed, sharpened up on the front there. The canopy actually come from a Cambria fun fighter. It all works out roughly about 1/10 scale. It's actually 4 channels. It's got bomb release on the other side, and they do work, I hope. And the power plant, the Astro 05, tucked in quite neat in the front there. That's a Robbie on-off switch with a brake, rated at about 30 amps. And the power plant is actually 7 1400 Sanyo SCRs.
Right, this is the Cooler sedan. The original was made in America in the 1920s, powered by a radial engine. This one is powered by an Astro 40, 2800 cells, sorry, 2800 milliamp cells. Flies for about 10 minutes normally, but on today it's been a bit sluggish. It hasn't been used for 2 months. It's covered in Solartex and weighs about 8.5 pounds.
Bob, I'll join the photo session. That's a nice...
I'm from Melbourne, Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many cells?
20 cells, 800 milliamps. But as it hasn't been used for the last 2 months,
Yes.
the cells, that's the first charge, that was charged last night, so now I should go and thrash hell out of them.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Dave Chinnery, and this is my latest model, Conductor. Partly named because it's powered by a ducted fan unit that I've made. The original unit was produced last year and drew very heavily from a hairdryer that I happened to have around, and put an electric flight motor in, and it gave marginal performance, but there was enough there to show that there might be a possibility of some success. Since then I've built about 12 different fans and 5 or 6 different stator units and an entire different housing, and it flies quite well. At the moment it will fly on 7 cells in here, or most normally I fly on 8-900 cells. The motor in there, as you can see by the cogging, is not an Astro cobalt motor. It's a relatively standard 540 ferrite motor. It's an MRI wet magnet motor, all raced and replaceable brushes, but relatively standard. About retails at about £20. I'm hoping to develop the unit, which is fairly successful. There may be commercial possibilities later, so if you've ever had a fancy for doing electric ducted fan, then obviously the opportunity may come without actually having to make the thing yourself. It's configured like a modern turbofan engine, and there are lots of aircraft around that could be modelled, lots of scale jobs around that could be built, looking very realistic. Things like the A10, Warthog, and possibly the Lockheed Viking is another good one, or some airliner models like the Boeing 777 or the A320 or something like that. And as I say, I'm quite pleased with the way the thing works. The model itself is my own design, designed specifically for the motor unit, and it's fully aerobatic. The model weighs about 2 3/4 pounds all up, which is about 1 1/3 kilos, so it performs quite well. It's been flying today. The conditions are quite windy, as you can probably see by the model being blown about, and the whole thing sort of copes quite well with the conditions. It's also quite easy to fly. young Mark, my second son, flies it quite happily. No design model called the Legato 4, powered by a Aero 25 cobalt motor, 14 1200 SCR cells. I think it weighs 68 ounces. Uses a Kano speed controller. Duration of about 4 minutes, using an APC 9.5 by 4 prop.
Don't be shy. Maybe from the other
Mouth full of grub.
This is de Havilland Hornet, scaled up from the radio modeler plan, 1.2 times. It's a foam wing. The motors are an air supply cobalt and 360 PT with a monster truck armature in 1200 cells, 14 1200 cells, all in series with both the motors and a Kano speed controller. This is a Dornier 335, powered by two Euler 315s, 28 cells, hopefully today 35 cells. It weighs about 10.5 pounds, with retracts, air operated retracts. Hopefully our third flight today. Everything's a success. This is the Partenavia Victor P68. It's a very simple model, the twin with two 600Es. There's 14 800 cells, rudder, elevator, ailerons and steerable nose leg. Very nice little twin to fly.
This is one of the Joey flying wings that I've produced. It's actually the one that won the Interx 90 last year in Germany. This is the International Experimental Aircraft competition. Some of the technical features may be of some interest. We use a standard Graupner powertrain system, but use master air screw 12-inch prop blades, which are more efficient than the Graupner ones. They're readily interchangeable. The motor is a Le Mans, Croatia Le Mans 360 PT mounted with a gearbox. This is available as a complete unit in Germany, although not available in this country as such. To control this, we use a Manx electronic switch. It's very tiny. That's it here. This performs rather like most other electronic switches, except that it has a soft start, which when you're starting up, it takes a half a second to accelerate to full speed, and it doesn't tend to ruin the gearboxes. It's driven by a simple 7-cell battery, which also, the 7-cell battery also drives the radio. When the volts drop to approximately 5.5 volts, it cuts the motor regardless of what you intend to do, and the model has sufficient power to glide for about an hour and a half. The only other particular feature about this model is that the rudder servo is actually mounted in the fin. You can see the mechanism here.
built from an RCMD plan, but completely out of polystyrene, as opposed to balsa wood, the original. 2 Bueller motors, 28 cells and the speed controller. Lasts for about 4.5 minutes, weighs 8.5 pounds, fully aerobatic as well as the full size one. The Citavia here on the right, it's got a Keller 3512 in it, 14 cells. It's also built from a plan, weighs 5.5 pounds.
Bearable then, it was windy but bearable. Now it really has got
Right, come on.
It's a good thing. Start it off as it is. Folding it up. Go up.
Well, this is the Atlanta. Next stage chinneries, filled with blue foam, Flyin, normal construction methods that Dave knows best. It's powered by 4 Mabuchi 380s, ACOM top units, 14 cells, Dave's own switching unit, which either gives 2, 3 or 4 engines. And would fly in these conditions today, but I think it's better part of valour I don't. Yeah, like my usual sort of thing.